Hey everyone, welcome back to Body Haven Soaps. My name is Darlene and I am the owner and creator of Body Haven Soaps. On this channel we go over products, techniques that I use. I share recipes, base recipes that you can change and make into whatever product it is that you're looking to create. On today's video we are going to go over making a soap bar, one of my essential soaps for my essential soap bar collection. I'm running low on a few, so I need to get a couple of them made. I will probably do the two that I am making over the next couple days. I will do the videos for you to see. But it is just my essential soap, so it's the ones that I use 100% essential oils in. And it's a pretty popular collection. So this here is just my base oils, and in my base oils I have coconut oil, I have palm oil, olive oil, castor oil, and I have some cocoa butter that is melted down. Now this, as you can see, is at room temperature, so it's not quite translucent, but I do all of my soaping at room temperature so I have time to do swirls and all those kinds of things. I have my lye solution here, which is just a discounted water lye ratio. Okay, I do my discount for these soap bars at 35%, which isn't super low, but because I add titanium dioxide, which I mix with water, I want to discount a little bit. I mix my titanium dioxide very strong with the water, so I'm adding the least amount of water I can. The more water you have, excess water you have in your soap, the more chances of those glycerin rivers and things like that. So I want this to be a very smooth bar soap. Okay. Also, additionally, into this soap bar, I am going to add in cotton clay. I put clay in cotton clay, a ½ ounce in this recipe, and this is going to be a 51-ounce soap batch recipe. So when you do that on the soap calculator, which I have a video I did previously on, this is what I've worked out for the soap mold that I have, and I do a ½ ounce of cotton clay in all of my essential soaps. I love clay in soaps. It makes a nice soft, smooth feeling, and it really does leave the skin feeling nice, so we'll add that. We're also going to use some titanium dioxide. In the titanium dioxide, you guys, this is water, but I have mixed probably a ¼ cup of titanium dioxide powder in this. It dissolves very readily into the water, and it works really well. And then we are going to make the orange patchouli. Okay, is what we're going to make. So I'm going to use my two different oranges and a white, and that's what this bar will consist of. Now, using these essential oils, it can kind of change the bar soap. So these oranges I know will go a little bit darker. I've made this soap a million times, which is fine, okay, because I'm aware of that. And then we have our fragrance oil, which is orange, okay, and patchouli essential oils that we will add into this. And it's as simple as that. So I have all of this mixed in, and so I did this really early this morning so that I was able to let it all cool down. Oops, I'm gonna move that before I spill it. Down to room temperature. And we're going to get our little mixer here. And I'm just gonna make sure that these oils are blended well together. I'm going to get all the air out of our stick blender. There. Then I will take the cotton clay, and I like to blend it into my oils first, just so that it's well dispersed and we don't get lumps. As you can see, it's kind of a lumpy substance because it does attract moisture. So I want to make sure that I've blended that well in prior to adding the lye so that I don't have lumps of that in my soap. So we're going to dump that in, and we are going to blend that. Okay, so you can see that's all blended in there really well. If you get bubbles, I mean, I'm doing a smaller batch. I don't do huge batches. I like to have stuff fresh and not sit for a long time, but just a couple sprays of rubbing alcohol will get those bubbles off the surface. And as it emulsifies, it will too. All right, so now we are going to get in our lye and water solution. So we will pour that in. And then we want to make sure that we blend this enough that we actually start to get that emulsification process. What happens when you don't blend your soap batter enough is you're going to start to get that lye-rich soap, okay? High lye concentration, because it doesn't start to blend with the oil, so you need to make sure that that's occurring. However, as long as you're not doing just a straight batch of soap like this, by the time you add your colors and your fragrance and everything else in, you continuously are blending it, so it does get to that point. But if you're ever making a batch of soap or you're just doing a plain Jane batch of soap, make sure you get this to the right emulsification or you're going to have that lye heavy soap, okay? And as you can see, it's getting pretty thick on here. So I'm happy with that. And then when I add the colors, fragrances, all of that, it will continue to be blended and I'm not going to have a problem with that. Okay? Because it's nice and thick. Okay, so we are going to use 3 of these, okay, and I just need a very small amount to be a light brown color that I'm going to do for just a little bit of a brown swirl in this. And then I'm going to do my 2 oranges, just so I have the contrast of 2 different oranges. And you can see this is starting to thicken up fast, and that happens when you're at room temperature. Don't panic if that's what's occurring. It turns out just fine because we're going to blend it in a second. It's just, try not to make a mess here. Get this all off the sides. Okay, and what we're going to do, I'm going to get a couple of these sticks. I'm going to make this one a light orange. I'll leave a little bit of that left, so I'm just going to use that. And this is mica orange red, and I purchased this from Windy Points, is that color I use. And this one is KO from Mad Micas. I love Mad Mica colorants. And as you can see, it's a little bit darker orange than this, so get some of that in there. And then this is Magic Beans from Mad Micas. We're just going to use up the rest of what I have in my little sample here. And I'm just going to make this my brown. And then this is my titanium dioxide, which I'm mixed really strong. I'm going to put some in here. And I'm going to put a little bit in with the brown to make it a lighter brown shade. And we will start with mixing our white first. I'm going to divide my fragrance oil up and just do this now so I'm not mixing colors. So we're going to put a little bit in there. And we'll get this mixed in. The white colorant. I will now go to the light orange, and always go from lightest to darkest, because then you don't have to clean your blender off everything. And that is the color of that one. Now we'll do the dark orange. And now the brown. Okay, and it's as simple as that, guys. And, oh, this just smells, I just love the smell of this. As you can see, this is just kind of an off brown. I wasn't going for a deep brown or anything, simply because I want to have just a off brown color. So that's the color of that. So you guys can see that, okay, that I'm doing. And always take a spatula when you put mica in a container like this, because it will stick. Let's see if I can show you. So you can see on the side of this one where you can see the mica stuck on the inside. So always take a spatula and scoop around, otherwise you're going to have pockets of mica that you don't want to see in your final product. And for this one, you guys, I'm just going to do an in the pot swirl, so it's pretty straightforward and simple. So we are going to take this here. I'm just going to stir out some of these bubbles that are in here. So pretty straightforward. I'm just going to take one at a time. We're going to start with the dark orange, and I'm going to pour it in 4 different locations in my pot, and we just drop it in. There's really no perfect way to do this. It's just do it in different locations and drop it in, so it's pretty straightforward. I do in the pot swirls for all of my essential soaps. I do different swirls for different ones, and of course I have my novelty soaps that I do different things in. So that is that one. We'll do the light color and just pour it in a different location so that you're not right over top. I mean, you can pour right over top, it's not the end of the world, but whatever you want to do. That's one of the fun things about soap making, is it is yours. Do what you wish. Okay, and that will be our light orange in here now. And just scrape it all out, and if it's on top, that's fine, because we're going to swirl it in the pot, remember? So just try to get as much of that batter out as you can. And then the brown is the last one. And we do that once again in different locations for this one. So I'm going to do the 4 corners. Scrape this out. Orange and patchouli smells so good together. Okay guys, so we'll get our bigger spatula again here. So I'm just going to scrape down the sides, make sure I have all of that in there. And then all I'm going to do is just take this in, and I'm going to go just a couple times around my pot. And that is it. You can swirl it as much as you want. The more movement you make, the more swirls, as you can see here. See if I can show you. When you look at the swirls, you're seeing quite a bit of different swirls in there. The more you move it, the more swirls. But I am going to pour this yet, so I know that those swirls are still going to swirl and move. So let's get our mold. And I already have this lined and ready to go. So it is pretty straightforward. You're just going to take your in the pot swirl and you're just going to pour. And you can see that my batter is still quite fluid, and it is. Okay, now that this is set for a little bit and thickened up some, I'm just going to do some little swirls on the top. Just pretty basic swirls on the top. You can see how that's thickened up quite a bit. It's setting nice. Just some basic swirls, nothing too crazy. Once I get that little design that I want, I'm actually going to take this stick and I'm going to go in and around, and I'm going to just pull it away from the edges to make that more straight. And I just go all the way around just to bring it in and up. Okay, and with all of my soaps, once I've done that, I spray them with 99% alcohol to help with any soda ashing that may happen on the top, because these do heat up in these wooden molds. Okay, and that's it. And I'll let this set overnight and I will cut it and I will show you what that looks like. Okay guys, so it is the next day and we are going to unmold this essential soap. So I just simply undo the tape. And you can buy the molds with the silicone liners. These are molds that I made myself. I didn't purchase these ones. I do have some purchased molds, but these I made to the dimensions that I wanted. It's not a hard thing to do or get somebody to do for you. It's a lot cheaper than sometimes buying the made ones. You can also make your own silicone molds, which is something I'm going to try in the future, so I'll do a video on that when I do it. But simply, it just folds up just like that. So it, as long as you line your mold properly, it works really well. So just going to pull the paper down and off. Oh, this smells amazing. I love the smell of this soap. This is the Orange Patchouli. And you just pull your paper off, like so. And we have our bar of soap. So I will sit this here and I will get the cutter. This is a cutter that was purchased last year. I really like it for my smaller soaps. Some of my larger soaps, you gotta kind of turn them sideways, but it works really well. So let's move this paper out of the way. And it's just a flat one, so it's easy to store. It doesn't take up a lot of space. I think that's the biggest thing that I like about it. And I ordered it off of Etsy to support some other crafters. Okay, so I lined this up, you guys. I want to trim off the very ends to make this smooth, so I have two small ends there. You can stand it straight up like this, okay, or on its side with this one. I just make sure that when I line it up, it's going to just shave off either end, and then my bars will be in the middle. Okay, and as simply as taking this and just pressing. So it works really well. And the inside of this soap, whoops, throwing them around. And we have that nice in the pot swirl going on. I'll let these dry for a few days and then I will clean up the edges on it. But I don't do it right away because otherwise I use a peeler and it just digs into the soap too much. So I wait for them to harden and then I clean them up. So I'll clean the edges and everything up and make them nice edges. But as you can see, the soap turned out beautiful. And it just absolutely smells amazing. Okay, thank you for watching, and I will have another soap, because I had a few essential soaps that I had to get done. I will have that up on the channel soon. But this is the Orange Patchouli Essential Soap.